In politics, if you want anything said, ask a man. If you want anything done, ask a woman. Don't follow the crowd, let the crowd follow you. The problem with socialism is that you eventually run out of other people's money. Being powerful is like being a lady. If you have to tell people you are, you aren't. Look at a day when you are supremely satisfied at the end. It's not a day when you lounge around doing nothing. It's a day you've had everything to do and you've done it. You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. I am extraordinarily patient, provided I get my own way in the end. Do you know that one of the great problems of our age is that we are governed by people who care more about feelings than they do about thoughts and ideas? If you just set out to be liked, you will be prepared to compromise on anything at any time and would achieve nothing. I always cheer up immensely if an attack is particularly wounding because I think, well, if they attack one personally, it means they have not a single political argument left. When I'm out of politics, I'm going to run a business. It'll be called Rent a Spine. Europe was created by history. America was created by philosophy. It used to be about trying to do something. Now it's about trying to be someone. I think we've been through a period where too many people have been given to understand that if they have a problem, it's the government's job to cope with it. I have a problem, I'll get a grant. I'm homeless, the government must house me. They're casting their problem on society. And you know, there is no such thing as society. There are individual men and women, and there are families. And no government can do anything except through people, and people must look to themselves first. It's our duty to look after ourselves, and then also to look after our neighbor. People have got the entitlements too much in mind, without the obligations. There's no such thing as entitlement, unless someone has first met an obligation. I do not know anyone who has gotten to the top without hard work. That is the recipe. It will not always get you to the top, but it will get you pretty near. Watch your thoughts, for they will become actions. Watch your actions, for they'll become habits. Watch your habits, for they will forge your character. Watch your character, for it will make your destiny. To wear your heart on your sleeve isn't a very good plan. You should wear it inside, where it functions best. Consensus, the process of abandoning all beliefs, principles, values and policies in search of something in which no one believes, but to which no one objects, the process of avoiding the very issues that have to be solved, merely because you cannot get agreement on the way ahead. What great cause would have been fought and won under the banner, I stand for consensus. If you set out to be liked, you will accomplish nothing. I usually make up my mind about a man in 10 seconds, and I very rarely change it. Being democratic is not enough. A majority cannot turn what is wrong into right. In order to be considered truly free, countries must also have a deep love of liberty and an abiding respect for the rule of law. In the end, more than freedom, they wanted security. They wanted a comfortable life, and they lost it all: security, comfort, and freedom. When the Athenians finally wanted not to give to society, but for society to give to them, when the freedom they wished for most was freedom from responsibility, then Athens ceased to be free and was never free again. Plan your work for today and every day, then work your plan. Of course, it's the same old story. Truth usually is the same old story. No one would remember the Good Samaritan if he'd only had good intentions. He had money as well. Christmas is a day of meaning and traditions, a special day spent in the warm circle of family and friends. There are significant differences between the American and European version of capitalism. The American traditionally emphasizes the need for limited government, light regulations, low taxes, and maximum labor market flexibility. Its success has been shown above all in the ability to create new jobs, in which it is consistently more successful than Europe. Socialists are happy until they run out of other people's money. To those waiting with bated breath for that favorite media catchphrase, the U-turn, I have only this to say: you turn if you want, the lady's not for turning. I wasn't lucky, I deserved it. The facts of life are conservative. Any leader has to have a certain amount of steel in them, so I am not that put out being called the Iron Lady. The truths of the Judaic-Christian tradition are infinitely precious, not only, as I believe, because they are true, but also because they provide the moral impulse which alone can lead to that peace, in the true meaning of the word, for which we all long. There is little hope for democracy if the hearts of men and women in democratic societies cannot be touched by a call to something greater than themselves. Of course, to be a mother and a housewife is a vocation of a very high kind, but I simply felt that it was not the whole of my vocation. I knew that I also wanted a career, a phrase that Irene Ward, MP for Tynemouth, and I often used, was that while the home must always be the center of one's life, it should not be the boundary of one's ambitions. Freedom will destroy itself if it is not exercised within some sort of moral framework, some body of shared beliefs, some spiritual heritage transmitted through the church, the family, and the school. Law and order is a social service. Crime and the fear which the threat of crime induces can paralyze whole communities, keep lonely and vulnerable elderly people shut up in their homes, scar young lives, and raise to cult status the swaggering violent bully who achieves predatory control over the streets. I suspect that there would be more support and less criticism than today's political leaders imagine for a large shift of resources from social security benefits to law and order, as long as rhetoric about getting tough on crime was matched by practice. The Russians are bent on world dominance, and they are rapidly acquiring the means to become the most powerful imperial nation the world has seen. The men in the Soviet Politburo do not have to worry about the ebb and flow of public opinion. They put guns before butter, while we put just about everything before guns. Left-wing zealots have often been prepared to ride roughshod over due process and basic considerations of fairness when they think they can get away with it. For them, the ends always seems to justify the means. That is precisely how their predecessors came to create the Gulag. When people are free to choose, they choose freedom. The above are the life wisdom quotes for this episode. Which quote is your favorite? Please leave a comment to tell us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. See you next time.